What's up, guys? It's Jordan, aka Hercules, aka Hades. Depends on the mood, I guess. For starters, I just want to thank everyone who's listening, has listened, and will listen. Thank you. This was my first release, and I still get excited when I listen to it because it takes me back to a time where I was having fun. I wasn't really concerned about what people would think or whether people would like it or not, how many plays it would get, whether it would catapult me into this huge career or whether or not it would be understood. It was really just about the creativity, you know? For me, it was nerve-wracking just a bit because as a rapper, you know, most of the time you're expected to have this kind of persona, this certain approach, I guess. You see me rolling up with something that's inspired and based off Disney. It's kind of like, who is this dude? You know what I mean? Like, Disney, what is that? But thank you to everybody that's listened to it and dissected the lyrics and seen like, no, Jordan, that kid Jordan, he's pretty dope. He could actually rap. It's been 3 years since it dropped, so I figured it was kind of appropriate to be like, let's reissue it. I've been holding on to some tracks that actually didn't make it. So I was like, you know what? Let me see how I can fit these tracks in, how I can put them into, I guess you could call it a storyline. And there were tracks that I'd always loved, but I didn't really know how to make it work. 3 years later, I figured it out, and here we are. So yeah, this is just the making of Hercules. So in 2016, I knew that it was time to drop a full-length project. Prior to that, I'd just been dropping remixes, putting out stuff to show that I even rapped in the first place. But as I started to kind of gain some attention, gain a bit of a following, people were like, yo, you should put out something, you know, a full body of work. So I said, all right, let's do that. At the time, I wasn't as confident in myself to put out a full body of work, so I ended up doing an EP. Hercules and Hades are split into EPs for those of you that don't know or weren't there during the time and are listening to this now as a full body of work. It was actually split into two EPs. But yeah, once I mustered up the confidence to finally put something out, it all became about the concept. And I was watching Disney movies one day, and if you know me, you know that I love Disney. I'm proud to say that I'm a Disney fan. I connect to those movies. I connect to cartoons. It is what it is. But Hercules was on, and my favorite movie of all time, well, I should say my favorite Disney movie of all time, had always been Peter Pan. But I couldn't really figure out how I was going to turn Peter Pan into a project. But the minute I was watching Hercules, I was like, yo, this story of a kid who knows he's worth more, who knows he's destined for more, and is so determined to work toward it. It reminded me of myself. So I was like, I don't really want to do the Hercules story, but I would love to take these two characters, Hercules and Hades, and kind of create music that matches their mood, that matches their character. I just thought, you know, this would be a really cool concept. This would be a really cool thing to do. And I loved the colors of the movie. So of course I'm thinking about the cover and how I could kind of turn this into something that's beyond music, that kind of had some thought behind it. So that's how the concept kind of came to be. When it came down to choosing songs to remix and put on there, I had to be like, yo, if Hercules or Hades, as crazy as it sounds, if Hercules or Hades was a rapper, what would their sound be like? So when you listen to Hercules, side A, the first EP, it's much brighter, you know, it's much brighter. And that's intentional. And then when you get to Hades, it's much darker. And I know a lot of people told me, not a lot, but some people were, you know, told me, they were like, oh, we expected Hades to be angrier. And so I'm going to shift to Hades real quick. My thought process for Hades was that it wasn't anger. It wasn't anger. It was darkness. It was the darker parts of ourselves. So it was heartbreak. It was confusion. It was identity crisis. It was anger. It was hatred. Not just for others, but for self. So that's kind of like what Runaway is about. But yeah, that's just to kind of clear that up as to why Hades isn't like F you. It's more so about, you know, dang, I feel dark. I feel it's kind of like melodrama, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, that was my thing with that. I was actually gonna do a Pegasus EP, but during the time I was kind of just like, you know what, whatever. I was actually feeling really discouraged because that's when it started to become about numbers, and it started to become about whether or not I was blowing up or not. But and I low key always regretted it. But instead of sitting in my sorrow, sitting in my regret, I just said, you know what, I'm gonna re-release it. And if I want to do more pop tracks, I'm gonna add more pop tracks, because Pegasus was gonna be a pop track EP. On the low, I always felt like Hercules wasn't finished. And I never told anybody that because, confidence or whatever. But I always felt like it needed something. It was always missing something to me. So I kind of also regretted making them EPs. That regret was just a substitute for wanting to do more. When I decided to make them EPs, I do think it was also because I didn't give myself enough time to fully think out the concept, admittedly. So now that I have, and every part of this little story, or every part of every emotion has now been included in the story, I feel like I'm finally putting a cap on the project, and it feels more complete when I listen to it. So that's really just my reasoning for re-releasing it, reimagining it. So once again, thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for supporting. I hope this made you connect to the project a little more. I don't know. Hercules isn't like this deep thing. I guess it's just special to me. Like, it makes you feel good. You feel the music. Like, I don't know. There's just something special about it. So I felt like I needed to talk about it and give you guys some background information as to why I wanted to do it, or how the idea came about, and what made me want to do a re-release. So that's really it. That's the making of Hercules. It's huge to me. So I hope you enjoyed.